in the last few years, a lot of the marketing organizations of the bigger companies are investing in new software platforms to be able to deal with data and to be able to track reporting. That investment has stripped a lot of money out of organizations, so they're not actually doing as much marketing as they were doing in the past, and that has been proven out by the Forrester study. So you have a little bit of a lull in activity right now, okay? The second thing that's been going on is that in most organizations, IT, who managed all the data, typically didn't report into marketing organizations. We're starting to see some structural changes where now marketing is now being responsible for IT. And that is a cultural change in organizations. And once the marketing people start overtaking and managing IT and data, they'll be more comfortable in actually implementing data in executions. So that's the second dynamic that's going on. And I think that the third thing is that some of the better executions are being kept close to the cuff. I think people are not openly sharing what they're doing because it's working very well for them and they don't want to give away the special sauce. What's interesting about the Ed Week pieces that we're doing is that these clients are willing to start talking about them now. And I just think what we need to do is continue to applaud them for good activities, show the value of cross-media, and don't put up walls, especially if there is a cross-media application that is implementing both traditional and digital and even online. We should embrace it, open it, and in many cases educate our sales forces on how to be able to get into those conversations and be comfortable. So I've answered you from a lot of different areas, and I think that within the next 3 or 4 years, it is going to be an amazing opportunity. The question is, are our organizations, all of us in this room, prepared to be able to take advantage of that?
Maybe one point is a couple of years ago, like 5-6 years ago, we started newspapers digitally printed. It was really a focus on taking that big newspaper and bringing it to a local level, trying to print visually to bring the cost down. And based on the speed and the cost there, it just wasn't ready to just simply do the same product in a different way. What we're seeing now is more added value of those products with the personalized wrapper and some other ways. You can really take that vehicle, that newspaper, and use it as a marketing vehicle much more than just the same product in a different way. And I think that's why now we see the last couple of years more success in this.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with a couple of comments about a lot of these customers originally, especially in the toner-based area, keeping their position quiet. They really didn't want to share information. I know of a number of installations in New York and on the West Coast that were printing newspapers 5 years ago and did not want to share the information. And they were making good money out of it. And it was said, quite well that it's not as inexpensive to print with digital technology as it is with offset technology, but the return is much better. And I think that's where the secret element was really going. They didn't want to share the return information. Also, I believe to a certain extent that as inkjet has started to come onto the market in the past couple of years, and especially now, our ability to print on a wider range of substrates in full process color is starting to get that excitement built up. I will also say that from my own experience going to, if you're a digital provider going into a newspaper environment and trying to get their attention to think about this tiny little piece, it's hard to get their attention. So getting their attention is difficult. So you've got to go to a different location. I think the marketing people, the CEO, the financial people all like to hear a little bit about the return on investment of what they're going to get for that money and how you prove it works. That's the second point that has to happen. And you see us doing a little bit more of that activity. Certainly events like this will help get that word out. For them to come back to us and start looking at us a little bit more closely. Because honestly, they spend a couple of $1 million on our equipment and our solutions. What they've spent in the past, this is peanuts to them to some extent. But we've got to prove to them that it works, it does the job.